Hello and welcome to our weekly financial report brought to you by Pew Prime, and here is what you need to know for this week.
The economic agenda for this week basically starts on Tuesday. On Monday, we didn't have any much information to be released. However, on Tuesday, basically, we have a couple of things that we will need to look for, which is the core durable goods orders, as well as the CB consumer confidence, in addition to the new home sales from the US economy. This is basically some important data from the US economy that we will be looking for. It will definitely affect the dollar index trading. On Wednesday, basically, we have the CPI, or the Consumer Price Index, the key measure of inflation from the Australian economy. We are expecting ECB President Christine Lagarde to speak twice. Basically, we will have the weekly crude oil inventories as well as the pending home sales from the US economy. On Thursday, basically, the focus shifts to the Asian session because we will be having the Bank of Japan monetary policy statement as well as the interest rate decision for this month. And this is basically the main key risk event that we will be looking for during this week. In addition to that, we also have the retail sales, the GDP, and as well as the weekly initial jobless claims from the US economy. The week ends on Friday, basically with some data from the Eurozone. On top of that is the consumer price index, the inflation for the month of April. We also have the German GDP, which is expected to show up as positive, in addition to the Canadian GDP. This will be announced all together on Friday. That was all for the economic agenda for this week and the main risk events that we will be looking for. Let's have a quick look on the charts on a daily time frame to set some targets for this week. Starting off with the dollar index on the daily time frame, we can see here that during the past and this week, basically we managed to break above the levels of support 100.70. This means that basically the dollar index will retarget the levels of supply 102.53. This is something that we'll be basically looking for during this week. So basically today is Monday. We're expecting that Monday through Friday, we will be having some bullish momentum on the dollar index. Going forward to the euro versus the US dollar, we have the same. We did have a supply area of 1.0800. However, this has been broken below. The next and the following demand zone is 1.0657, and this is something that we'll be basically looking for during this week, especially that on the daily time frame we are still having signs of bullish momentum on the momentum indicators. So we might expect a rejection from the levels of 1.0660 roughly. Going through to the pound versus the US dollar, it is currently inside the demand zone of 1.2750 roughly. And from here, we might expect some bullish price action to happen and for a correction to start. We might expect and we might see a false break to the downside. However, the momentum does basically indicate that we will be having a move to the upside as we are having this bullish divergence. Going forward to the gold trading, we are continuing the move to the downside. However, the good news is we have just about reached the levels of demand of 1900. We are expecting a continuation of this downward move. A false break to 1900 or even 1890 is something that we might see during this week. However, we shouldn't really close below 1890. So we might see a false breakout, however, not to hold our trading below those levels. And we will be expecting to see some bullish price action on gold trading from those levels here. We end our weekly financial report with the US crude oil. We do have a near demand zone of 94.50. We're heading downwards. We're currently around 300 pips above the demand zone. We might expect those 300 pips of a downward move during this week. So on the 30 minutes time frame as well as the 4-hour time frame, any upward movement during today and maybe tomorrow, Tuesday, is something that we might short back to the 94.50, and after reaching the 94.50, as it is a strong demand zone, we might see an upward movement or a correction to retarget the levels of 108.50. So that was all for the weekly financial report. Thank you so much. We'll meet up in the following week. Thank you, and please stay tuned.